Hello, retro gamers, and welcome back to the RGDS podcast. It's your host, Paul Driscoll here, aka the Drisk, and joining me, it is the G-Man himself. It's Garron Tungate. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Paul. Very good.
Cool.
Pleased to be recording with you again.
Yeah, no, it's been too long. It's always awesome recording with you. I can't wait to do round 2 of the Dreamcast episode as well. But today, if you've not seen with the thumbnail or image, we thought with all the hot weather, we would go flipping open some Gameboy cartridges and dive into 8 lesser known but fascinating Gameboy titles. These, I think, are some really deep cut cult classics, and people may find some of them a little odd, but I think they're all worth another look and great games to play. And of course, it's perfect in all that sunshine, sort of taking your Game Boy out or your Ambonic or like-minded things and just enjoy it in the sunshine, isn't it? But before we get all into all of that, let's, as always, talk about what we've been up to retro-wise. So, G, what have you been up to since last we spoke?
Quite a bit. Well, we did meet up in the Retro Realm in Walsall.
Yes, you finally got to see it briefly, wasn't it? It was a long way for you. It's a shame you couldn't stay longer, really, but you had curries and things to go to. But what did you think of the place?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I like what the two Craigs have done in there. I think there's a great spread of games, and they have to cater for kind of all age groups, because it's not viable just to have it for us, like pure retro gamers. I think they've got to get their families in there.
Yeah,
I like that they've got that had the games are set up, and you go into the corner, and there's say rows of the classics there, and there's some driving games. So the pod game that I played there, which is a bit like the Star Wars pod. That was good. And I think they've got some really...
Yeah, they got Mac, what's it called? Mac something, isn't it? It's basically like the Star Wars pod, but you're flying, it's a bit like Top Gun, isn't it?
It is. It's really
very
good. I think what they've done there is...
Mac Rider, that's what it's called. So my brain was trying to remember. Yeah. Sorry, carry on. Yeah.
No, they've got a good range of games to play. I mean, it keep you occupied there for hours. I know you go down there a lot, so I was really pleased to get there. It's quite easy to get to, I think, in the town. So yeah, it was really, really good. Got some classics. We played some games, didn't we?
Yeah, really good. Crisis Zone was a lot of fun that's there now, isn't it? That's for those who don't know, Crisis Zone is basically Time Crisis, but with a machine gun. That's all you need to know. So you got the pedal to sort of like pop back up if you from behind the shield and take out the enemies. It's awesome fun. I love that one.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed that. Then the following Saturday, I went to Arcade Club in Leeds.
I still need to go there, yeah.
And I was really impressed with the layout and the grouping of games, so like the Nintendo games together, the Williams games together, and how they've curated it. I mean, I thought that was fantastic. It seems like smaller than the Bury Arcade Club, but just how it's set out, the range of games, as you'd expect from Andy and his team, is huge, and lots of driving games. Played a lot of Sega Rally 3. I never played that in like the sit down car one before.
Have you never? Because they've got that in Bury as well.
Well, yeah, in Bury, I just get waylaid by.
You just go to the candy cab room, don't you?
Yeah, I go to the candy cab room and the Japanese rhythm games to remind myself, one, how old I am, and two, how uncoordinated I am. To do that, but me and Ross played that. I mean, the first couple of games, we weren't great, if I'm honest, because you have to really brake in that game. It's one of those ones, the car's really twitchy. I had a look at it and Googled about it, and I've been playing the Sega Rally on the PlayStation 3.
Oh yeah.
So,
So you got the basic came out on the PS3 and Xbox One. The arcade. So Sega Rally Arcade, which was digital only, wasn't it? Had the arcade port, not the one that you buy, is it? You didn't buy the physical because that's not the same game, which is not very good, unfortunately.
But they were developed on it. Is it Revo? They were developed at the same time. So really did that and had a great time there. I mean, had about 6 hours there. I went with Ross, a friend of the show, so we met up and went there, and then got a Switch 2. Don't think I had that last time we spoke, did we? No,
it was before.
No. So I had a Switch 2, which is basically a Mario Kart World machine. It's an impressive game if you like Mario Kart. So I played a lot of Mario Kart, quite a few hours of that, and I have started Breath of the Wild again with the Switch 2 updates, and it is impressive. Is it too early to buy one? Yeah, absolutely. I think, if I'm being really honest, it doesn't do a great deal that the normal Switch doesn't. I do like it. I've seen the new Donkey Kong game that's going to come out on it, but probably not for me straight away. I had a delivery of a game I ordered a while ago. ZPF, Future Metal Fantasy, a Mega Drive horizontal smop, which is very good. I only played about 5 minutes of it so far, so I'm looking forward to getting into that, and I will report back. But on a retro bit, I was a Rag and Bone Man concert in Thetford Forest last week, and waiting for the acts to change, I was on my phone and I was playing Truxton on my phone.
How does that work? I can't imagine using a phone controller.
No, it's all right. Just use touch. You just touch screen, and it's got auto fire, and there's a bomb button. But it's good for whiling away. And I stopped playing it, and someone behind me tapped me on the shoulder, and he was like, "Oh, just realised, was that game Truxton?" I said, "Yeah, it was," and started to chat to him. He played it a lot at the arcades when he was younger, and it was just really weird that in with all of those people there, he said about how that sparked nostalgia for him. He hadn't really thought about it in years, and
that's awesome.
It brought back memories of his time at sixth form. So that's what that was really good little moment. And I've been playing one new game, like Player Expedition 33 on the PS5, which is possibly the game of the year contender so far.
It's turn-based RPG, isn't it, that one?
Yeah, the strategy's turn-based, and there's a lot of kind of parry mechanics and as you go through, but
and probably not my sort of game, but no, I've heard good things about it. But you saying about Truxton, have you seen finally Toplin Volume 1 and Volume 2 is coming to the consoles?
It is. If you get
Truxton 1 and 2 and all the good ones, so that'd be fun.
It's really good. I think the second volume is probably better than the first volume, and it's on Amazon. It's $29.99.
Yeah,
I've gone for the Japanese version, because when you order the first volume, you get a slipcase for it that holds volume 1 and 2.
Oh, okay.
So I thought just
go the extra mile. That'd be
go with the other Tower Plan stuff upstairs. And what was the other bit I was going to say? The last week, have you seen like the Sega Racing Classic 2 is in like Yakuza Like a Dragon game? That's meant to be really good in that game.
Which one? When you say Sega Racing, do you mean like the Daytona one, or not Sega Racing TV? So Sega. So it's like the Daytona remaster. Is that the one? Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. Do you know what? The only time I've ever played Yakuza is just to find the Sega arcade, but I get frustrated that they don't just put in. I mean, like you were saying, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Like with Sega Rally 3, for example, that the only way you can play it is on the old hardware, because Sega, for whatever, I guess it's licensing in that instance, but it's just frustrating that they don't bring many of their games forward unless it's part of Yakuza, which, it's a great game, but I don't want to jump through hours and like 100 hours of cutscenes just to play the arcade games. It sort of defeats the purpose for me. But it's. I still eternally hope that Sega will release more arcade games. Fingers crossed.
It'd be nice.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to, mate?
Yeah. So, one of the things I got. So Charlie, hello Charlie. He got he for my birthday. He bought me a HDMI splitter because he asked me what I wanted, And so basically, what the reason I wanted it is because I got my main PC plugged into the TV, but you know what it's like. The girls, there's always Peppa Pig on, or the girls watching something. So I still wanted to use it, and I had like a monitor gathering dust really in a corner, which I occasionally used. So what I did was I used a HDMI splitter, so girls can still be watching their TV. And in the corner, I've basically set up like an arcade. But then what I've also bought was a stand for the monitor. So the monitor's a little bit small for it maybe, but what the reason I bought this particular stand is because you can rotate the screen on the fly, so you can just sort of like go from horizontal to portrait. I also got like my steering wheel set up, and I've got my I bought a laptop fold out table to put the arcade stick on, and it works really, really well. I do genuinely feel like I've got like my own arcade in the corner finally, and I've been playing it loads, and of course I've gone through a lot of work with Launchbox to make nice front end anyway. I'm still jumping through some hoops. I can't get the overlays working, so I'm using MAME in particular, directly on MAME at the moment for the arcade games, but yeah, no, I'm just really chuffed and just having a blast playing it. Of course, where it falls down is, of course, the granddaughter still kicks me off because she wants to play. But, no plan is perfect.
So, no, you're right. If there's ever a Peppa Pig racing game, you can kiss goodbye to that whole little corner, I think.
Oh, I know.
Looks like she loves it.
Yeah, well, she's got the Peppa Pig Xbox game, which she loves that. So, yeah. But of course, the beauty is she could still play the Peppa Pig game, and I can be in the corner playing the arcade games. But yeah, no, I've been really pleased with that, and just having a blast. And the other thing I was going to mention was, of course, I picked up Ridge Racer, the Arcade Archives 2.
Yeah,
absolutely amazing port of it. It just runs perfectly. I've still not actually got round to hooking up my steering wheel to the Xbox. I mean, it can do, to see how it plays through that. But certainly in terms of controls, and it's got the score modes and all the high scores. It's really quite cool. It's a good, it's everything you could wish for in terms of a really solid arcade port. Have you tried it on your Switch 2 or any other ones?
No, I was going to. Then I thought I'll get it on the PS5.
Mm-hmm.
Had the PS5 up and played, Clay Expedition again. So it's on my list to do. But I was, so with racing games, I was going to send Kingy up a copy of Ridge Racer 7 on the PS3. So I put it on, because I've got couples, let's put it on to make sure they both work. So I send them one that works. And I've got hooked to playing that for a little while.
I love Ridge Racer 7 and Ridge Racer 2 on the PSP are my two favourite versions, and I just find it so sad that there hasn't really been, that really was the last true Ridge Racer 7.
It also had the Xevious as the start-up game, which makes it even better to play.
Yeah, shooty. Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that series, and I'm hoping to see. I'm still quite excited for Arcade Archives to see what they come out with on the more powerful, their Arcade Archives 2. I'd love to see some of the other Ridge Racer sequels, and I know like 2's just an iteration, but Rave Racer or something like that would be awesome, with the extra tracks.
Yeah, and 4's amazing, so that'd be good to see that rebooted.
Which one? Sorry. Oh, 4, Ridge Racer 4. Yeah. No, that's that would be awesome. Oh, there's so many games. Yeah. But no, fantastic. So anyway, shall we go into the main topic itself?
Let's do this.
Yeah, so as I mentioned at the top end of this, we thought we'll enjoy when the sun shines out in playing some Game Boy games because we can play the games out on the move as well. Although I did obviously stay at home to record a lot of the footage as well, which you'll be seeing on the video version. Please subscribe and because it's it'd be nice to get a few more listens. We get lots on the audio listens, but not so many on the video, unfortunately. But hopefully seeing the footage as well as playing them is cool. But yeah, no, we basically, I sort of, I'm a huge fan of the Game Boy library, the original Game Boy library. And I think it's got some real deep cut, amazing games that, don't get talked about. Everybody always talks about your Tetris and your Super Mario and all of those sort of things, but nobody talks about some of these lesser known games. So I really wanted us to sing out the praises for it, isn't it, G?
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's listen to some music of the first game and we'll go straight into it. Okay, well, as you heard with that fun little ditty, I love the music in that. It's a fantastic platformer. I think a lot of people won't have ever played. And it is called Tailgater, released in 1991 on the Game Boy, developed by Natsumi and published by them. You basically play an alligator and you swish them with your tails, you find the keys, you dodge or hit the enemies, and you make your way to the next screen. I mean, it's simplicity itself, but it's got fantastic music. It's a really solid platformer, and I just think it plays fantastically well. I mean, do you want to describe it a little bit more to our listeners and say what you think of this game?
Yeah, so it is a classic platformer, scrolling left to right. You play as a cute little gator called Charlie. There is a backstory of what he does, but as Paul said, you get a tail swipe, which will swipe in the direction that you're facing. You get a special weapon as well, which fills a power bar along the top as you go. There's 4 distinct levels in the boss world, and the environmental touches in the zones are really good, from having currents in the water on the water level, and then in the later levels you can only stand on the ledges for a short amount of time before you fall through. There's a really good variation of enemies and power-ups. As Paul said, you get pickups from chests, so you have to go through and get the key to advance to the next level. But there's also power-ups from chests. You can gain more hearts, which is more life and power. And it's got some really nice little touches. There's like a bomb, and if you time it right and get a lot of enemies, you'll send a lot of enemies up in the air and flying off the screen and get some really good points for that. And if there's no enemies on the screen, I think it's 100 points that you'll get. It's a really good looking game. The artwork is good. The animation is good for the Game Boy. And when you play it does get progressively harder. It's one of those addictive little Game Boy games. It's not hugely long. It's probably about, I think, just over an hour and a half to finish. But the password system for it, one of the things I like is it's just numerical and it's just 4. Numbers. Some of the passwords in this kind of generation you had to write them down. They're really long, but yeah, this is small passwords, easy to type back in from where you were. And as you go through, I think it's air, land, underwater, and cave.
Yeah,
you do have a distinct bit. The levels you have to jump more, and I think that when we talk through some of the games, I mean, it's a really fair game. You don't need absolute pixel perfect jump in this one to get to the other levels and to go. And there's sometimes a little bit of back and forth just to make sure that the last chest you get will be the one that's got the key, where you jump up and you go through the door to the next level. It's a really expensive game to buy now.
Is it? I didn't realise that. Yeah.
So complete in box is around £700.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
cart
insane,
only.
isn't it? Yeah.
This was a few weeks ago I looked at this. The cart onlys were £150. But I think it's really hard now to buy a cart only game, whether it's a SNES or Game Boy, anything like that, because there's so many fakes about. So
Yeah.
and you could also, like, if I'm honest, I just played this on my Analog Pocket. And Limited Run did a re-release of this.
Did they?
You can get that for about £50. That's got a green cartridge, because that's kind of how much of a cult classic this must have been. Back in the day. I think it was really well liked in the US. But what did you think of it?
I loved it. I mean, I did, it is one that I played back in the day, really, really enjoyed it. It's one that when I did my Game Boy collection, like I did like my sort of walkthrough of like the ones to play, I always felt bad that I left this off the list. It was not for any other reason. It was a total brain fart moment and forgot it. And it was only one of the listeners pointed out, oh, why haven't you mentioned, this game? And the reason was it is one that always goes out my mind. I adore this game, but, it always goes to the bottom of the list, which is in my head, which it shouldn't do, because this is just a really solid platform game. I mean, you could argue it gets a little repetitive, the levels, it's not doing that much fantastically different, but then you don't really expect that on the Game Boy. But it's got it where it counts. It looks fantastic. The characterization of the alligator's really cute, and I love the music. I mean, I was trying to work out, because a lot of the music's, I mean, what one sounded like Cole Porter's Gabriel, things like that, but there's loads of really funky tunes which I'm sure they've nicked from classic tunes, but I couldn't place it and couldn't find online. But either way, it's a really solid soundtrack, isn't it? All the tunes are fantastic, and has your toe tapping as you play through. So I just adore it. I really enjoy this one.
The boss fights, I think, are really good, aren't they? They're very different.
Really good. It's nice variety with the boss fights. It keeps it sort of fresh and entertaining. It's, I mean, considering it's on the Game Boy, it does quite a bit of variety. It's nice, as you say, you got with all the bosses that it throws at you, and at least the worlds look very distinctive looking wise, if it's not particularly that much variation in terms of, it's the same style of game, but that doesn't bother me, coming from the 8-bit days. Like, there's something nice about that simplistic, but I mean, I just, it was great going back to this and playing through again, and I just adored it. It works so well, sort of playing it through. I mean, how did you play it? You said you put it on your Ambinic, did you, or
no, we put it on the Analog Pocket.
Oh, Analog Pocket, yeah. So you own the cart then, do you, or did you?
No,
you can upload the games, can you?
Download the ROMs. I've got some of the games carts that we're going to talk about. I didn't have this one.
Yeah,
and you can tell. So when we've done a few Game Boy shows a few years ago, didn't we? With, I think we did Indiana Jones and some James Bond games on there. It was cheap enough to pick up the carts for those when we were progressing the show and doing the show. With this one, it's, as you say, they're deep cut hidden gems, but some of these command at a very high price.
I don't think I would pay that for £700. Unfortunately, I don't own it anymore. It's one of the ways that got lost in time, but I really and I'm not entirely convinced it was a legit actually cart that I had anyway, but I really enjoy this one. And just out of curiosity, the on your Pocket, how does it look? Can you make it look like the original Game Boy? Because as people will be seeing on the video version, is I always like giving it that green screen feel, because it makes it feel like it did back in the day. But obviously I can choose between, like, the Pocket where it was like black and white and a bit clearer. But I'm just curious, how do you get all those options with the Pocket as well? Or?
Yeah, there's filters for it. So when you go to the menu, you can change what we want it to look like. Although I'm not very good, I just take it as it comes, and it does give you I've just turned it on. It does give you a very Game Boy-esque view straight from just booting it up.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
There are different filters you can put on and overlays in the settings.
Yeah.
And you can change like the blur of it. So you can do it. I mean, the Ambernex are absolutely fine. They've got the filters on that as well, haven't they?
You can do all the things. Yeah. No, I mean, and of course, I play it through RetroArch on the TV, because obviously I need some way of recording for this, and that obviously has all the, too many filters. I mean, one of the things is, as default, the top, like, the 4 buttons you have on the Xbox, the top, like X or Y, whatever it is, if you accidentally press that, it changes the screen as default, and then you're like cycling through trying to find the one that you had that made it look like the original Game Boy. But a great way to start. And I think this is one that a lot of people won't have heard of. And as always, please join us, play it as well, and tell us what you think. But I think a great way to start, and it's good that you enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, no, it was a lovely game.
Fantastic. Okay, well, as you heard with that nice little ditty, I do love the Game Boy music, by the way. It is, this is awesome, I think. It is Solomon's Club. This is actually the sequel to Solomon's Key, that Tecmo arcade classic that saw home ports on all the systems. I mean, the Spectrum had an amazing home port. But although this wasn't done by the original Tecmo, it is a really solid love letter to the original Solomon's Key. And for those who don't know, Solomon's Key is sort of like a puzzle platform, and the idea is you can make blocks disappear with your magic wand or reappear to make steps and pathways. And the idea is you have to go and find the key, make your way to the exit. This also has, I think, like the arcade original, that you can also rescue the fairy as well to sort of progress through. It's all done on a single screen, and of course you have enemies as well. I've always been a huge fan of this, and I just think, a huge fan of the original because it had such a great port. But I think this takes it even further than the original. I mean, was this new to you, or did you know this one as well?
I knew this one, so from the game it was ported from. So I played that, but this...
So you played Solomon's Key, the original arcade game, yeah.
I had played that, enjoyed that, but never played this. And again, with Solomon's Key, I hadn't actually ever put a great deal of time into it. It was one of those games that I play very infrequently. But this is a whole different kettle of fish, isn't it? This is very addictive. If I'd have played this back in the day, I think it would kind of probably be up there rivaling Boulder Dash is my favourite kind of puzzle action game on the the Game Boy. If I'm honest, it's got What did you think of the music?
I really love the music. It's really good. I mean, it gets a little bit samey, I suppose. That was one of the things, but I mean, I think it's quite catchy. I mean, I guess you're not a fan of it, or
no? I did. I just because the people who did the music of this did the music on 2 of your most favourite games on the Mega Drive, didn't they?
Did they?
Yeah, they went on to do Battlemania and Troubleshooter.
Oh, wow. Oh, well, mind you, the music of Battlemania is probably not my favourite. I mean, I love the gameplay, but awesome tunes on Battlemania.
I thought that was a neat little bit of...
Yeah, I did not know that. Yeah, no, I hadn't researched that.
So,
yeah.
it was done by Graphic Research Company, but then became Studio Cliche, which went and did work with a lot of other games. But when I was looking through Battlemania and Troubleshooter, I thought, I know someone who loves those
I
games.
love those games. Yeah, so good. For those who don't know, they're really, really good Mega Drive shooters. But I just I think this works so well because, of course, I love with this where you encourage the enemy to walk out and then you make the block disappear and there's loads of hidden secrets, like if you happen to fill a square and then make it disappear, you'll make extra bells appear and things like extra goodies. And of course you've got the shop that gives you the money. I mean, it really sort of takes the idea, if you're a huge fan of Solomon's Key, you'll absolutely adore this because it sort of just takes that original idea, but obviously has the great graphics of the Game Boy, which really has an amazing tune, amazing screen and high res, and really runs with it. It really is a beautiful sequel, and it's just one. Again, you got your passwords and things, and they're not too bad to remember. And obviously these days you can do save states, but it really becomes quite a challenge as you go on, isn't it? Some of them do have you scratching your head, how am I going to beat this one or that one? Does make you think, particularly some of the enemies, like when you go later on, you can't kill them by making them fall down, which is always tough. But I'm pleased it's a sort of another one that's new to you, and because you'd only played the arcade original, which is of course amazing. But I just think this is another one that people don't realise there's a sequel on the Game Boy, and I think this is a great one to enjoy and play, and one that I keep going through.
And you're right, there's a lot of depth to this game. When you get into it, I played this. Well, when I played it, I just hours on this one. I think there's bits when you get into it around, I said, the placing of the block. You learn as you go. So once you've done a level, you know a level, you can be quite quick when you go through. But I think as you get further on, you have to be very quick. So the timing of when you throw a block. When I first started, I was sort of going up to the edge of the block I was on and adding a block like either to the left or the right of me at the bottom below me. But then when you go for later levels, you've got to start to try and make that block as soon as you can, haven't you? If not, you're going to get caught. And there's some trial and error with, like say, in the shop, you can buy there's fireballs and hammers, a water gun that puts out flames in some of the later levels, which you need because the blocks don't do that. And I went and read the instructions and looked at, you have to collect 10 fairies at the end of each of the levels, and you're getting an extra life. But if you do play this, I really recommend that you take a look at it. Just go a few levels in, because the game, as Paul said, does change and it becomes very fun, a bit of a challenge, and it can be quite frustrating. So there's a bit of trial and error in the levels, I think, isn't there?
Oh, because obviously when you place blocks, most of the enemies will destroy the block when they hit it, so it really gets quite quick where you have to really sort of time, so you're putting blocks to send the enemies the other way and then quickly making another block to get that little bit further, and of course you have these black mirrors where you can't place blocks there, so it gets really quite skillful as you go on. It's a lot more sort of arcade twitchy than you'd expect in many ways, because you're like a platformer, you're running around trying to avoid all the enemies and time everything, but in a good way. Not you always feel it's fair, don't you? You never feel that it was being unfair. It was always your fault as the game player, and just needing to know the way through. But it really will test your platform skills as well as your brain, this one. I think it's I would love to see a remake of this on the Switch or something. I think it would do really well, but
I'm surprised this game didn't have more exposure. I think, if I'm honest, it is that good.
Oh, I'm glad you got with a real fan. I mean, I know how much you love sort of Boulder Dash. For you to say that this would be up there is awesome. So no, I'm glad to have introduced you and the listeners to yet another classic. And I'd love to hear what many of our listeners think of these games. But that's what we like to try and do, isn't it? Is introduce all these sort of not always go for the obvious games, but introduce these other fantastic, lesser known games for people to enjoy.
Yeah, and I think it is really good. The arcade version's just come out, I think, or not just come out, but is out on the Switch as well. But as a Game Boy game, it's just brilliant.
Yeah, and it does get that greed factor as well, as you say, because you want to find all the bells, isn't it? So that's often you end up killing yourself because you've been greedy on the level, trying to find all the secret bells. But I'm glad you really like this one. It's because it's one that no one ever talks about. So that's why I wanted to make sure that I shouted out here for people to enjoy. So yeah, please let us know. Wow, we are having classic after classic here, aren't we?
Yeah.
So should we go on to the next game then?
Let's do it.
Right, as you heard with this music, this is actually a home port of an arcade game that a lot of people have never, it's talking a deep cut. It's quite a deep cut arcade game, let alone the Game Boy home port by Jalico, and it is Avenging Spirit. The home port on the Game Boy came out in 1992 and developed by CP Brain, and it was also known as Phantasm in Japan. And I've always loved this game. The whole concept of it is essentially you're a ghost, but you can possess. You're off to rescue a daughter that's been kidnapped. But the whole thing is that you are a ghost that can enter and possess any enemy. But the caveat is a bit like in Yoshi's Island, isn't it? You got so long when you die, you've got so long to find another person to possess, and your energy bar's going down. But of course, it's rather cool because depending on the type of character you possess means you'll get their particular skills and abilities. And, that's it really. You just sort of make your way through finding the keys. But it's another one where it's got great ender level bosses. It's got great music. It looks fantastic on the Game Boy. I think it really, in some ways, I find it's more at home on the Game Boy. I mean, I'll be honest, it's what I didn't know that it had an arcade port until years later. For me, this was always a Game Boy game. I'm trying to remember, did it get a Game Boy Color version as well? I'm trying to remember. I'm going to look that up. Can you remember?
I don't know if it did.
I'm going to have a look.
It got all sorts of, it went to iOS, it's on PS4, PS5, Xbox.
But is that like the arcade port? Because, I mean, there's nothing wrong. I mean, the arcade port is great, but there's something about the Game Boy version that I just think has so much more charm. Yeah, I mean, the Game Boy version came out in 1992. Yeah, it only came out on the Game Boy. I think years later there was an unofficial Game Boy Color version. That's what I'm thinking of. But yeah, no, I think Avenging Spirit is a fantastically unique and interesting game. I'm surprised that idea of possession hasn't been done more. I mean, I know Shiny did Messiah, which was a classic, but that was a 3D platform. Well, 3D adventure game, wasn't it? But I've not seen, I think it's such a great idea, that idea of sort of like possessing different characters. And was this new to you at all, or?
Totally new.
Oh, that's
totally
cool.
New. So I went through it, very impressed with the presentation of the whole game.
Yeah.
From the start, it explains it. The little cutscene as you're killed, and it's is it your girlfriend's dad that sends you as the...
Yeah, he basically
she was
calls you
kidnapped,
back,
wasn't
doesn't
she?
it? Because his
Yeah.
daughter's been kidnapped, or someone's daughter's been kidnapped, isn't it? Yeah.
It's got some great animations, like you say, when you possess somebody, when you come out of their body, it's got a great animation when you seek someone out to possess them, and you gain all of their powers. You've got ghost energy, haven't you? So yeah, let's say drain the longer you're in son's body, and you've got to time that quite well to get to another enemy to possess. But also sometimes there's more than one enemy on the screen, so you have to look at what form you can do, because some jump longer and some have got different abilities.
Yeah.
With it.
What's your favourite character to possess?
I don't know. I just quite like the normal kind of mobster, really, because it's quite easy to do.
Because he's got the machine gun, isn't he?
Yeah,
Actually, he's one of the favourite. I mean, I think the robot is probably the most powerful, in terms of the mixture of jump and firepower. But I think visually I prefer the mobster, because I don't know, I just love the characterization of all the characters. It's captures it so well. I mean, I really was smitten with this game, and it always amazes me going back to it. It's just how the Game Boy really was the full package. The music, and I just love the sound chip on the Game Boy, and these are like proper games. But what I don't know, it's that bridge between the 8-bit era, which I love. I know the Game Boy is an 8-bit machine, but with more modern sensibilities in terms of wonderful detail graphics. So I prefer this over the arcade version, if I'm honest, and I think it's another one that just doesn't get talked about much by people. So and it's sort of like proven that I know. Well, you told me you'd never played it before, and Kingy mentioned just before we hopped on that he'd never heard of this game either. So I'm sure many of our listeners will have heard of these games, because they're geniuses. But hopefully there will be some of our listeners out there that like yourself and Kingy, that this will be completely new to, and it'll be another experience. And he's a really cute little ghost, isn't he, as well? He's got such a cute little... I want the little ghost plushie. But yeah, it's a short game, but a lot of fun. And a nice variety. These are perfect, when you're out and about in the sun, just put it on, and with some save states, and you can have a grand old time, isn't it? That's that's what they were designed to do, really.
Yeah, it's a unique game, isn't it? I think that with the premise of what you have to do in the game. I was looking at the two very different box arts and styles from Japan to the West. From a mobster with a machine gun blaring in the West, to the cute little ghost in Japan. I like the Japanese art, I think, better.
Oh, much better. I never liked the because you're right, on the Western one, you got like you say, the Tommy machine gun gangsters just shooting, and it doesn't really tell you the sort of game it is, but also, it just I just think it sends out the wrong message, because you're just going to disappoint people, aren't you? Really?
Yeah, I think when I looked at that, if I'd have just seen the box art of that on the shelf and not picked it up, I'd have thought like another Dick Tracy game, if I'm honest.
Yeah, of course. You would, wouldn't you? Because that's essentially what it is. Yeah, I mean, I think this is another one that limited edition did a version of, so clearly, they know their deep cuts. But I mean, for me, it's as I say, just worth playing through. I prefer, as I say, the Game Boy over the arcade ones, but however you come to it, I think it's a great game. And as always, I think Jaleco knocked it out the park. They were so unique with their design ideas. I think out of all the arcade manufacturers, I think Jaleco need a lot more love than they get by people.
Oh, they do.
Fantastic. Well, any more you want to say, Bill, or should we go on to the next game?
No, let's go on to the next one. That was a very good find, Paul.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you like it. sticking with the arcade theme, this is another one that I actually prefer over the arcade, and this is, of course, Elevator Action. This is another fantastic Game Boy game done by Taito, and this really takes that arcade original classic, but this 1991 update, I think, just improves on it in every way. I mean, for those who don't know what Elevator Action is, I'm sure you do, everybody knows, but essentially you're like a spy, isn't it? So you go flying in like the roof window, and then you use the elevators, hence the name, to go up and down through all the levels. If it's got an exclamation mark, then that means it's part of the secret files that you need to find. If it's a question mark on the door, then it will mean it will have a power up. So like, a machine gun or a shotgun. There's a whole variety of different weapons. That awful bomb. I hate it when I pick up the bomb.
I've got that on my notes here. That's horrible.
It's horrible, yeah. But this does just so much more to the game, really. I mean, I love the fact as you're falling down or you jump at the right time, you can shoot out the lights and it sort of goes darker so they can't see you. And I don't know, it's simple gameplay. I mean, obviously, like the original, you're always waiting for an elevator or you've got the escalators. But the whole idea, you get all the exclamation marks, so you can see at the top the countdown of how many you need to collect, and get to the basement. The car rides up, which looks so cool, picks you up and then scoots you off to the next building to repeat the process. And this has quite a nice amount of variety above the arcade as well. Soon you'll be up against dogs and a whole variety of different creatures as well as the enemies. So, I mean, that I probably waxed lyrical about it enough there. I mean, what was your thoughts of this? Was this version new to you? I mean, I assume you know the arcade game.
Yeah, no, I'm sitting here with it in my hand, Paul.
Oh, you own this one. Oh, cool.
Yeah, this is one of the ones I've owned. I'm always a fan of Elevator Action. Had this, I must have had this from when it came out, if I'm honest, because it's in it's all in a box protector and everything, so obviously means something to me. So, like you said, player's agent, like Otto, it's got some differences from the game. I think you've said some of them. So that in the arcade, you just had the red doors to go in. This one, you've got like the two different indicators to go in and to get your secret documents or your power ups. Which, say the power ups, I think when you get the right one or all of them apart from like the bomb, you're fine with. Bomb's just absolutely awful.
Oh, I lose so many lives when I get that.
Yeah, because of the arc it is, and it's just horrible. I think that with this, it makes it more home friendly because you can take 4 hits now instead of the one that you had in the arcade. You can jump across the elevator shafts, which is an addition to this. And again, like the arcade, you can shoot the lights to make it hard to see, so it goes dark. And the first couple of skyscrapers you do, couple of levels, are good fun and get you into the game. Then you get more with dividing walls on the levels of a skyscraper, so you have got a bit of going back and forth.
Yeah, and you're going up as well, because like I mean, a slight spoiler, but later on, isn't it, your partner in crime, the girl in the car that picks you up, she gets kidnapped, and so then you have to like make your way through. I think it improves everything you could hope for, isn't it, with this kind of game? It does. I mean, obviously Elevator Returns did a lot as well, but that, for keeping true to the original game, I think this is such a great update. I absolutely adore this one.
For me, it's one of the best games on the system. Because I like it, I've had it, and it gets quite tough at the end. Yeah. So I think it's commonly accepted that the music isn't great on this game, so if you play it, just turn the music down and put some music you like on and just get absorbed in the game.
Yeah, it's not terrible, the music, but yeah, you're right, it's not the strongest bit. I also don't like killing the dogs, but you have to, because they're really nasty little buggers. But then I never liked that with Elevator Returns as well, which was the official sequel, wasn't it, that came out years later.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like this.
Oh, good. And yeah, no, it's another one that you're right. I would have. This was not one that I had back in the day, and it's a shame. I would have absolutely been all over this, but somehow I missed it until years later. But yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I've never really got on that much with with the arcade game, if I'm honest. So this one, however, is everything I want from that style of game. Because I've always liked the idea of the arcade game, but you're right, it's just too punishing, the arcade. Whether this, gives you a fighting chance, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's it. It does at the start anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it does get hard, but in a good way, and you've got the password, so it lets you carry on. And I also like the fact that you've got the little sort of like laundry chutes as well. That it's a good way of escaping down.
Yeah, if you don't know, they get they look just like the dark rectangles on the wall, and you come down those. Yeah, they're a great addition.
And I love because this is one thing I always hated with the arcade one, is it's a lot kinder. If you get to the bottom and you haven't collected everything, it will transport you back to where one of the ones you missed. Yeah. So it saves you all that unnecessary backtracking and frustration. So it really sort of respects your time in that way. Yeah, I'm glad you're a bigger fan as me on this one, and it might have been actually you years later that brought this to my attention. I can't remember now, but yeah, I'm with you. I think it's ever since I discovered it through recommendation from someone, I've adored this one. So I'll give you the thumbs up with this one, because I think I'm pretty sure it was you that suggested this to me years ago. And I've loved it ever since.
But I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
Cool. Right. Shall we go on to the next game? We're not spending too long on these games, because we still got 4 to cover. We thought we would really wanted to give some deep cuts of some amazing games for people to try. Now, this one I love, although from the mumblings before the show on our notes, I think you're not a bigger fan of it as I am. But this is Tracks. Came out in 1991 on the Game Boy. It's done by HAL Laboratory and published by Electro Brain. I think this is a really fun, admittedly easy, but that's probably why I like it, shoot 'em up. It's overhead. You play a rather cute little tank. One button rotates the turret. The other button shoots, and loads of things to destroy and distract. Get your power-ups and shoot everything. I mean, it's just simple fun, maybe a little easy, which I think maybe was your issue. But I love it, and I love the end-level bosses you get. That's got quite nice variety there as well, and good power-ups. So I'm going to pass it to you. I mean, what's your thoughts for this game? Because I love this one.
So I think I like the premise. I like I like the little tank. I think the enemies are good and varied. Mm-hmm. I think there's a very good array of power-ups. There's a couple that I don't like. The shooting behind and in front is good, and the 3-way cannon is good. What I don't like about the game is the rotating, the B to rotate the cannon. And it is good because you've got all the different, you've got 8 directions it will go round. But I just think it's how I just played the game without using rotate, apart from the bosses where you need to because of the boss patterns, which are very good. And I think it's got good bosses. I've been playing a few run and gun shoot 'em ups, or like vertical running up and shoot 'em ups, like Outzone recently. So maybe it got a bit of like, well, it's not like them.
Well, yeah, it's not going to be as good as Outzone. Yeah.
The more I played it, the more I like it. I think the levels are a very good length. I like when you get to a boss because of the kind of a square scenery that you go on, and you do need to have a bit of strategy and rotate the boss battles for that. I think as you go through and get the power ups, the health, and destroy some of the scenery, it is very absorbing. So I like everything about the game apart from kind of the rotating the cannon with the B button isn't for me. But when you play it without doing it that much, you can still enjoy the game. It has got good levels. It is one of those, as you say, it is a real bit of a hidden gem. It's another one of your most expensive games you've picked on there as well, I think, isn't it?
Is it? Oh, I don't know. It's
yeah, cart only is £420.
Wow. Yeah, well, it's, I mean, I imagine it didn't sell that well because it is pretty unknown, this one. But yeah, it just, I think it looks wonderful. The end of level bosses are awesome. I don't have as much problem with the rotate. I mean, it is a little clunky with the rotate because you've only got the one button. You can only rotate clockwise. I don't think there was another button that I was able to find that rotated it back when I played it. But I don't know, I did tend to rotate probably more than you, just because it was fun rather than, but you're right, you probably don't need to. But yeah, I don't know, I just find it looks great, the graphics. It makes good use of the Game Boy, great music. You were never left in any doubt what was going on the screen, which is quite impressive, really, when you think on the Game Boy that it gives such a clean shoot 'em up, really. I mean, this is one of my favourite shooters, if I'm honest, on the Game Boy. Probably the only criticism is it is a little easy, but sometimes that's what I like. Because it makes me feel like a boss. I can go through and, I mean, yes, you could argue like most Game Boy games, it's short, but I don't expect, a Game Boy game to give me hours and hours of gameplay. It's just, it does what it says on the tin, just a quick playthrough, and doesn't outstay its welcome. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of this one. So, did you say this was another one that was new to you?
It was. I was never played it. Looking at it, you can play it multiplayer as well, can't you?
I don't know. I never tried the multiplayer, so I bet that would be quite fun.
4-player multiplayer. It would be interesting. So, do you think? Although I've just said I don't like the turret bit, I do like the game. I played it a lot. It's got great animations, great explosions. The tanks look like come out of like a Pop and Twimpy game. They're like they're little cutie tanks as you go, aren't they? And the enemies.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like about the game. I think everything for me apart from that. But I don't know how you do it. So I think I'm doing it a bit of an injustice. So I don't know how you get the rotating turret on a two button thing. So I think they've done the best that they can. One of the things I would say, although the gameplay's good and I do like it and it gets a bit varied, the visuals and the backgrounds don't, just a little bit, a bit similar, aren't they? I think in time.
Yeah, and that's what it got all over the place with reviews back in the day. You had some absolutely loving it and saying about the graphics and everything, but then Famitsu only gave it 23 out of 40, and Super Gamer only 37%. And really, the criticisms on the lower scores was the short length, and it gets a bit repetitive, which is kind of what you were alluding to. And I sort of agree with that, but I guess I hold Game Boy games to less of a high standard because, I mean, they were doing a different thing, and I think it gives a lot of variety. Obviously it would have been nice, if it had, the Game Boy had the shoulder buttons. I mean, I would love to have seen a Game Boy Advance sequel to this. I think it would be really good. But yeah, it's just one that I love going to play. It looks lovely, and I think there's, I'm always drawn to shoot 'em ups, and I do enjoy the slower pace shooters like this, where there's less stuff going on the screen, which of course it's mostly because of the Game Boy, but particularly the boss battles always keep you guessing, and is a lot of fun. There's a lot of variety, isn't it, with the boss battles?
Yeah, I really enjoyed them.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And so mixed result with this one, but still a hit in your eyes.
Yeah, it's a hit.
Cool. Well,
Absolutely.
I'm doing reasonably well.
No duffers so far.
Cool. Let's see. We've still got 3 to go. Let's see how I've done. Okay, so the next one, of course, everybody loves Ninja Gaiden, and what a lot of people maybe don't realise is on the Game Boy you had an exclusive Ninja Gaiden game called Ninja Gaiden Shadow. Great music, obviously a lot more simple than the NES version, and doing a lot less, but I adore this one. It came out in 1991, obviously done by Natsumi and published by Tecmo, and officially this is the prequel to the Ninja Gaiden series, if you wanted to worry about that. But I mean, you don't, never get too caught up with things like that. But this has it all. You've got a grappling hook. You've got the ability to pull yourselves up. You've got your little sword. You can whack the enemies. I don't know. I just find it's obviously a lot easier to play than the and less brutal than the NES classics. But I think it's still an amazing game. I mean, was this new to you, or was this one that you knew?
I knew of. I've never played it. I think I was put off by, as you say, how brutal Ninja Gaiden was on the NES, because it was quite, it was like a feat of strength. I think if you could finish that back in the day, it was.
It's definitely about learning the patterns. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And it, as we know, not always my game I'd have put too much time into. However, this is really good. This is one I will go back and play. Played a lot of this as we were going. The unique aspects of it. I thought the box art when I looked at it, I thought, oh, here we go. Go be like Shinobi, and then it isn't. It's very kind of different. I like the fact that you've got the different your left to right platform. You've got the different weapons, and you've got the art of fire wheel. So like you fan out fire from your sword when you've got enough. You've gone through the levels and you've got enough power ups. You can use B to use that, and you get the power
take them all up.
And I think that bit's good. The grappling hook is good, so you get to different levels. You can avoid enemies and go. I think that the animation's good because you can read the enemies to see when they're going to attack you from the animations. Which
I love when they're like calling on the people, isn't it, and stuff like some of the enemies, or calling on the guns. Come on, fire! So it's coming. This makes good use of the animation. There's a lot of love with this, isn't it? I think it's again it's another Ninja Gaiden or Gaiden game that no one ever talks about because it obviously gets overshadowed by its bigger brother, and obviously if you're into people will get, if they love the hard quality nature of the NES original, they may find this like it's a more of a kids friendly game, but I mean not visually or anything, but it's definitely more forgiving, isn't it?
It is. I think. Well, I think that the graphics and some of the level design struck me a little bit between like Mario on the Game Boy and a bit like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Just what it felt like for me. But like as you get through the game, you have to use the grappling hook more. To do that. Some of the levels are really good and some are a bit bland, so a bit inconsistent there. But I think I've got absorbed with the gameplay, so I didn't really focus on that too much. The boss fights. There's some really innovative boss fights. Like the second boss, where the main enemy carries a smaller enemy that like jumps you to slow you down, doesn't it? It comes to you, you have to kind of shake him off. The third level, you have to hang and drop a lot because they're trying to get you with their machine gun, aren't they? So the boss fights on here really, really good. I got to level 4 boss, the one that's got the fan.
Oh yeah.
The music's good throughout here. The good power-ups are spaced really well. This is a really good game. I'd never played it. The only kind of Ninja Gaiden game I played a lot of, I think, was Ninja Gaiden Black on the Xbox 360. Which is
really?
obviously very, very different.
Very different beast, yeah.
To this. Well, the bit that I did like to get used to is how the screen, might have just been on the analog as it goes, but I don't think so. How the screen kind of went white or blank, but in changing areas.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's just how it is, yeah. Just as it's loading up. But I think this is a great one. I mean, I've learned to appreciate many moons ago. It might have been in Retro Asylum days, but I did a guest podcast. I did a podcast with Alex from Retro Game Squad, talking about some of his favourite games, and on there I got to really appreciate Ninja Gaiden on the NES, and therefore I've always been a fan of the 2D Ninja Gaidens, and as I say, this is again, compared. If you're all about the brutality of things, then you'll probably be disappointed with this. But if you find that Ninja Gaiden's a bit frustrating, this is definitely a good way of introducing yourself to it. And I just love, what you were saying, like all the end level bosses, you from giant, brawling big soldiers and things. I mean, they're quite imaginative with their enemies, aren't they? They're quite sort of draws you on as you sort of go through from stage to stage. And there's always a nice variety to the enemies and things. It reminded me a bit like Mega Man in that way, where you sort of like have to learn the levels, the when to jump and things like that. It's kind of cool. Yeah, no, I'm glad. So this is another one that was a hit for you then.
Yeah. Oh yeah, great hit, this one. Especially as I'm not a huge fan of, I'll say that I am a huge fan of some of the games. I never played this and never would have loaded it up. I would have no inclination whatsoever to have ever played this one if it wasn't for your suggestion, Paul.
Cool. Well, hopefully our listeners will enjoy it as well. Now, of all the games I've chosen, although I love the music, this is the one that I do love, but I know it is quite clunky. So of all the ones I think is going to disappoint you and the listeners, it may be this one, but I still love it. And that's why I wanted to include it. What is it? It is Firefighter, released in 1992 on the Game Boy, developed by Teeny Weeny Games and published by Mindscape. And in the game, you play a heroic firefighter who must go up against the enemies, put out the fires with your little water cannon, pick up the kids and people to rescue, and take them out of the burning building. But what's particularly cool is what is particularly cool is that the building's always constantly recatching a light on fire, and there's a fire bar where you can't let the house get too out of control, catching fire. Otherwise, it will sort of, the whole building will burn down and it'd be game over. And the idea is you start at different venues. So the first level, you're running around a house, rescuing babies and things like that. There's axes to pick up, isn't it? Where you have to use axes to take out clockwork enemies and jumping jack toys and things like that, and mice. And yeah, there's a lot of going backwards and forwards. You can direct your water cannon by going up and down to take the flames. It's got nice graphics and nice variety. I mean, you can go you know, is each level's a completely different venue, isn't it? You go from offices to things like that. So I mean, what's your thought with this one?
Yeah, I was a bit mixed at the start. Like you say, I had to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I played through the levels, or not every level, but
Mhm.
I think that level 1 does the game a bit of a disservice. Level 2 is so much better with like the office chairs and little ring of phones. There's so many nice little animation touches that fit the game of it. So when you go, like you say, you've got your water. It's quite hard to get used to it. You get more water, don't you, as you go up the different levels and go up the stairs to the games. I think at the time it could have been really fun, but I think if you persevere with the first level, the other ones get better. But there's a lot that's gone into this game, and so many little bits of where you rescue out. So like I say, level 1, you go out the front door, so you have to head down every time. Level 2, you can jump out the window and get caught by your fireman friends in like a blanket thing there. And looking, I didn't get that, I got to level 3, but some of the other levels as you go through, like the school, the garage, they do look really, really good. And I think it's when you need to persevere with. But I say you've got the axes for the Nutcracker toys, I think, isn't it? You get them. There's mice as you go through, and the fire that comes at you at different levels. But it's a well thought out game. But it's I'd say it's clunky. I just think it's not quite my cup of tea with it, or to persevere. But I did play it quite a bit. It's one of the first games I played when we went to prep for the show. But I do like that at the end of each levels you get a bonus for like the time, and a life bonus that kind of boosts your score up. It's got a high score table with it, but it's one of those ones I've enjoyed watching the YouTube videos of it and like seeing all the little touches in the background.
Yeah, but that's what I love. It there's a lot of love and care, isn't it, with all the sort of like, you know, the animations, as you say, and I don't know. I mean, it is quite frustrating in terms of like you're always like, you know, because obviously once you rescue someone, you've got to go all the way to bring them back to the van. You can't like obviously carry more than one person, which, you know, means that it's a bit sort of backtracking all the time, which may annoy people. Particularly like the babies and things don't seem to be affected by the enemy, like the fire. So you're like, well, no, they're all right.
Falling around, yeah.
You know, but yeah, I guess I've always been drawn to this one where it's just unique. I've not. Personally, I know there was like the fireman game on the SNES, but I've never seen one quite like this, where I just think it plays really, really well. So that's why I wanted to include it here, and I'd be interested to know what our listeners say with it. But I'm sort of with you that probably the first level is the most frustrating and the weakest, because as you say, in later levels you can jump out the window and you can, you know, get. You know, there's quicker ways of getting out, which is much better, really. And I really quite like the variety. Every level is a different location, and just as you say, a lot of love and care that went into this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I had in my notes as well exactly what you've just said there. I did like the fireman games on the SNES, which I thought were good. But yeah, there's a lot of care and attention in this game, and lots of little touches that you just have to see.
Yeah, and that's, I think, what I love about it is just that it is the touches and love and care and just good use of pixel art, and it's just one I always go back to. It's just, so, you know, I've got to be in the mood for it, but when I'm in for it, it's I just find it a lot of fun. So good. Well, so still a recommend from you, or did I bust out on this one?
No, I think I'd like people to play it. It is good. Just get past the first level and the game begins.
Cool. Right, well, we're on our final game now, and as you heard with this little music, this is Nintendo R&D 1 developed game, and also done by Tosei, and it is Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters. This is an exclusive Game Boy 1991 sequel to the NES classic. Does its own thing, really. I mean, I'll let you explain this to our listeners. I mean, do you want to explain it?
Yeah, so it's a game that was on the NES, which I played, but not much. It's a Nintendo first-party game. Rather famous producer, one of Paul's favourite video game legends, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's a really cute game. It's got a great manual that sets the scene of who you play. So kind of and it's kind of that bit of Greek mythology as you go through it. It's got Nintendo quality all through this game. Great animation, very good, precise handling. And it's just a game that's got a lot of love put in it, a lot of detail. And you can see Nintendo R&D 1. So like the heavy hitters made this game. Great platforming. So you play as it looks like a cherub with a bow and arrow, and you go through platforming levels of varying degrees of hardness, and there's like different enemies that come down from snakes and coming down in clay pots. And you need to go into different rooms. When you go into a room, they've got some hints and tips, and you've got heart segments and little hearts that you collect as you go through.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come out of a door, it goes through as it's closed as we go through. The great animation is great, and it is one of those just one more go games that you have to have a go. And I see there's a shop in there that you collect the hearts and that throughout the level. You can go and upgrade and buy different things. And it's a really, I say big game, it's a really big game for a Game Boy cart, isn't it? It's very long.
It's huge, yeah. It's about 2 hours long, isn't it?
Yeah,
which is amazing for any game of this era, really. And it does give a lot of variety as well as you play through. It does that classic Nintendo thing of always, just when you think you've seen everything, it throws something unique for you, or something a little bit different to keep you going. I mean, it's a well designed game. I mean, as a kid, I always struggled with the Kid Icarus games because he's like a cherub, like with like angel wings and a bow and arrow. It's a bit wussy as a kid for me. But with adult eyes playing it, it's a really solid. It's probably not of a lot of the first parties. It's one that I don't like as much as many of their other ones. But if you love platformers, I mean, forgetting about the characters, if you love platformers, this is a really solid one, isn't it? Really.
Oh, it's very good. There's so many touches of, even with the weapons, your health has to be high on some of the other weapon upgrades you get, because if it drops, then they don't work anymore.
Yeah.
The animation's great, the boss fights great. I did look at YouTube for like the end boss, and it's like a huge sprite, isn't it? It's,
really
very impressive how the Game Boy handles that.
I mean, that's what I will say. I think this, personally, for me, it may be sacrilegious to some, but I prefer this much more than the NES classic. I've never really quite got on with the NES version. Whether this, it's a little bit more forgiving, more variety. I mean, obviously, it came out years and years later, so it's taking nothing away from the original. But I think it certainly respects the original game and improves upon it. So. Yeah, I mean, I just hope if you do enjoy your sort of Kid Icarus games or just love your platform games, hopefully, as all these games that we're talking about here, will just show you how wonderful the original Game Boy library is. I mean, I'll be honest, I prefer the original Game Boy library over the Game Boy Color or so many other systems. There's so many. I mean, I could easily do 3 more shows of hidden gems like this, where there's just so, the depth of the library of the original Game Boy is just so amazing.
Oh, it is great. And there's the depth of it. This is a great game. And I think, we've got some other shows to do, but I think we should definitely come back with some of your your deep dives into some of the lesser known games of the Game Boy. This is a great game, and it did get reviewed really well, I think, back in the day.
It did, yeah, it was solid reviews.
It's one of those bit, like we say, like I think in America it did better because of the legacy of the NES, and where we were kind of more Master System than that. But yeah, it was a brilliant game. I think it might have passed a lot of people by here because we weren't as invested in like Kid Icarus as some of our American cousins were, as they say.
Yeah, and you know, I'm testament to that. I mean, I didn't bother with it because, you know, as a kid, you were like, well, I don't want to play like a little nappy wearing angel. He looked a bit wussy to me.
Yeah.
So but yeah, no, it's really, really solid and definitely one that I love. And as we say, the Game Boy library is amazing. I mean, we've done a lot of Game Boy original games because it's such a favourite system of us, the hosts, isn't it? And I know we've done a lot together, but you know, I urge to our listeners to try these games, see what you think, and then, you know, perhaps if you get a chance, have a look at some of the previous shows that we've done on the Game Boy. Game Boy movie episode was a great one, wasn't it? And we've done like arcade. That was a great one because there was many really, really cool Game Boy arcade versions of things, like, you know, where I know we did Boulder Dash there, didn't we, and some of the others. So no, really, really good. So well, it sounds like I didn't have any duffers from your perspective. But
no duffers. I think with regards to go, I think the one I kind of struggled with the most was probably, not struggle with, but yeah, Firefighter and Tracks.
Yeah.
I really like, there's a couple of bits about the mechanics I struggled to get through, but it doesn't take away what great games there are. And on the flip side of that, things like Kid Icarus, to play that was really good. Avenging Spirit, Ninja Gaiden was awesome. And Solomon's Club, top tier game. And then Tailgater, what a brilliant fun game.
It is. And it's one of those platformers that, you know, on the Game Boy, it just gets overshadowed by, you know, your Marios and things. People don't never talk about it, which is a shame, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think my analog pocket has enjoyed it because it's thought, well, I'm not on a shelf at the moment. I'm being used,
not gathering dust.
And like with some of these games, they've had me playing them at like 5 o'clock in the morning and like 11 o'clock at night. Just having that, like, this is really good. To Kid Icarus, I've just put music on and just played it. It's just a great selection of games, and I would urge listeners, please, just give us some feedback on them, play them. Let us know what you think of some of the games, if you agree or don't agree, or even if you've got any kind of hidden gems you think we should have a look at in a future show. That'd be fantastic.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah,
your points.
Yeah, we, as always, we'd love to. You know, we're not the final custodians of great games, and we often take suggestions by our listeners, and we'll definitely incorporate them and give a shout out to any boys or girls that suggest such classics.
I'd love to have like a listener's Game Boy Deep Gems game, Hidden Gems game, so we could see what we've been missing.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, well, as always, you know, please reach out to us on Discord's usually the best way. And also, just another shout out as well. I'm trying to think, but is it September or October? I can't remember. When are we doing the meetup in Arcade Club?
October 10th, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, October 10th. We're doing we might be wrong on that, but yeah, I think it's October 10th that weekend. We're doing a meetup in Arcade Club in Bury, and, you know, there's no special ticket or anything for it. It's just a way for our listeners to, you know, we just all agree to go to Arcade Club in Bury. That's near Manchester in the UK. And, you know, most people turn up on the Friday. Saturday is the main day where everybody be there. And then there's a couple of stragglers such as me that stays on the Sunday for a good half day before, because I'm clinging on to try and stay as long as possible till the end of the day. But I'm really looking forward to that meetup. It gets better every year. Everybody's wonderful, and I'm really excited because it's been a while since I've been to Arcade Club in Bury, and I saw the fantastic video. Have a look at the video that was taken last time people did a meetup, because they enjoyed it so much. There was like a mini meetup. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it, or Kingy, or I don't think any of the hosts could we?
No, I don't think we did.
Yeah, but Aaron did, didn't he? But yeah, Aaron was good. Took wonderful footage of the place, and it looks amazing what they've done with it. I mean, I'm dead excited to sort of see it firsthand. It really is the most special place in the world, arcade wise. I think we really are at that point now.
Yeah, I couldn't make last year, but I'm there this year. I've got the hotel like you Friday night.
Yeah.
So we'll be gaming Friday and all day Saturday. So yeah, absolutely can't wait. It is a fantastic time of year that the listener and crew meet up.
Well, boys and girls, hope you've enjoyed, and as always, keep it retro. I, for one, am gonna finally put on the fan, because I've been sweating buckets here, but I couldn't have the fan on because it would have been too noisy in the background. So yeah, but until next time, keep it retro.
Take care. Bye.